guys tuning in. Welcome to the Dream is in Your Hands Educational Youth Conference, where we're dropping jewels on the next generation. My name is Amira Lawson, aka Mira B, and I will be speaking with Camille Selvon from Trinidad and Tobago about discovering your passion in the illustration industry. Camille discovered her passion for illustration and manifested her dream. She created the first Caribbean outsourcing animation studio called Full Circle Animation Studio in Trinidad, creating work for international studios around the world. Camille is also chairman of Film TT under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Government of Trinidad and Tobago, and one of the first speakers to speak at TEDx Port of Spain. Camille, welcome to the conference.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. How are you doing today?
Very good. I mean, I'm all the way out here in the Caribbean, it's very warm and beautiful, but I'm so happy to share with you all the way across there.
Yes, and we see the lovely innovation characters in the background that you have. I love to see it. So first things first, what inspired you to be an animation pioneer in your country of Trinidad?
Well, I am an artist first, so during my time as a child in school, I always loved drawing. I really just love drawing. So that's where the illustration comes in, because those who know about animation will know that's where it starts. It starts with an artist. Now, what happened is that within the Caribbean around that time, many years ago, we did not have animation in the curriculum. So at age 21, I actually went to London. I have family there, and I actually went to London. And in London, that's where I actually experienced animation for the first time. So I did a degree in digital media, and I had a teaser in film, animation, journalism. And the moment I did animation, I was like, oh my God, this is it. Because what it does, it brings your illustration to life. So that's all it does. That's the only difference.
Did you somehow, when you would see those illustrations, how did any particular illustration inspire you to want to begin your career?
I think definitely my African prints. That's something I love, because I also do fabric design and fabric painting. But African prints and the whole, I don't know if you know about the Akindra prints from Ghana and all the stories to do with that. So my style of animation is very much artistic. So a lot of my work is not just cartoons, it's not just characters running around. It's very stylistic. So I'd say my inspiration was the African prints, and of course Caribbean stories, because we have so many stories out here. And I know in America, of course, we share similar stories, right? Absolutely. We do share similar stories. So definitely the cultural stories and my experience.
Okay. Now, do you feel your influence and work that you have laid down thus far has opened up many opportunities for the youth to be excited about exploring when it comes to animation?
I think definitely. And I think I'm also seeing this with my counterparts all over the world. So I have a huge network of animators and illustrators all over the world. And there seem to be like this thing going on where everybody is connecting, everybody's connecting, the diaspora is connecting. Now, the challenge we have with animation and illustration in this field is that, let's say China, for instance, China has 1 billion eyes and more, right? So therefore their content could be consumed. But our content is all over the place. It's just the nature of, what happened to us. So we are all over the world, but then when you add it up and you start pulling the African diaspora and the Caribbean diaspora and the American diaspora and the European diaspora, you have billions of eyes. So all the persons in the network, so like for instance, in America, I have great friends. I don't know if you know, I'll call a few names. So if people want to look into them, they're doing great work in animation. So you have someone called Tyrell Dillahy. He's now at Sony Pictures. You have Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith was the creator of Proud Family. He's doing really fantastic. I think he's still at Disney. You have Jamal Bradley, who was at DreamWorks. You have a lot of people of color that are doing animation and illustration. And what is happening now is that they are really trying to pull in young people young people to actually come in and look at this as a career option. So yes, it's a global trend though.
Wow. Now, for those that are interested and looking forward to becoming a part of the animation industry, can you give us one pro and one con that you've experienced along the way that could help someone else's journey?
So one con, I would say, is a challenge. Is some people think that if they can't draw, they won't be able to do animation. And that is not so. Because what happens is, I always say I teach too, right? So I'm the head of the animation department at the University of Trinidad and Tobago. I say to students who can't draw, you see, if your line is confident, you could create any character. So if you look at an animation, like, I don't know if you know this animation called Ren and Stimpy and a few others, those characters were really ugly, right? They were really ugly, but they were done in such detail, and it was done so confidently that you forgot the fact that they were ugly characters. So that is one of the things that I think is something that is a challenge, that people think that because they can't draw. And also too, there are different kinds of animation. So for instance, you have 3D animation. So if you're technically driven, if you're into programming and you're into games and you're into computers, 3D animation might be just the thing for you. The positive thing I would say is again to do with that, the fact that artists can actually have a huge, wonderful career in animation, because you have things like background designs that you can't use a computer for. And somebody who could draw a character may not necessarily be able to draw a background for a game or for the film. And therefore, it means that it allows artists who feel that they're not part of the technical world to actually be part of the technical world. So you have careers like concept artists, and environmental artists. And therefore, we could all be part of this wonderful career.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Women empowerment. What does that word mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. It means so much. And it's a battle that I've been going from day one, because when I said to you, I studied in London, and I won the Royal Television Society Award, this one here, for one of my film, right? And I use as you can obviously hear, I'm not from America, I'm from the Caribbean, so my voice is different. And I made a conscious decision that, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be authentic about who I am. I'm going to put my voice as a Caribbean voice. And I did that, and I won the award for London student for the entire London region. So it showed me that you need to be authentic. You need to be who you are in order for anyone to turn around and look at you. Now, when that won the award, I got invited to all over the place, and I remember going to Trafalgar Square for an event. And as I entered the room, I was the only female person in that room, because remember, animation and digital media back then, and even now was a very male dominated industry. So I came into the room and I was the only female. I was the only Black person, because that too is a thing. I never see people of my color in my industry. And I was the only person with a funny voice, right? Which is the Caribbean voice. So that sort of made me realize that I need to expose this more to people all over, not just the Caribbean, but so that different people could have voices. And what I've done in the program at the university is deliberately go in and try to reach young women. So when we started the program, we had about 15% female and 85% male. And we did some groundwork and some outreach, worked with Microsoft Girls in ICT. And now we can boast of a 45% female comparison to 15%. So we've done some serious work, and I think it's all worth it.
Amazing. I love it. Now, did you feel any pressures, particularly, like you said, you were the only woman of color, and in fact, woman in a male-dominated industry. So did you feel any pressures in your early stages of your career?
Of course.
Wow.
Of course, yeah. I mean, to be taken seriously, first of all, so that took a lot of work. So to me convincing someone that this is the way to go with a production would probably take a lot longer than the traditional male manager in a space. They would say it and it happens. When you're female in this industry, especially back then, you kind of had to prove yourself. You kind of have to prove your worth. So I did a lot of that, and it's no longer, I'm just going to sit and wear my crown. That's what I'm saying. That's what I say to women now. You know, wear your crown, sit on your throne and do what you need to do. No permission is needed to be a female in any industry.
Yes, I love that so much. Why do companies from around the world need to pay attention and collaborate with the animation industry in Trinidad?
That's a beautiful question. And I want to make it known that when we say Trinidad, Trinidad encompasses the other, right? It's the other. So Trinidad means Black, Trinidad means white, Trinidad means different races, Trinidad means different sexualities. Trinidad represents all of that. So when we talk about Trinidad, I don't want the audience to think it's just the island Trinidad. It's anything that is not normal, right? And I do think because of what is happening, you'll know what is going on in the world when it comes to diversity and inclusion and race and all of that. I do feel like this is the time when our voices need to be heard, because when your voice is heard, you can tell your stories. I go deep into the belly of the whale, and that is something to do with story and script writing, but I go into the belly of the whale. I do workshops in prisons. I do workshop in girls' homes. I do workshops, and I remember doing a workshop in the prisons here in Trinidad. I also did some in Jamaica, and we had room for like 20 of the inmates, and there was like five extra inmates on the door knocking to come in, and it's because they are not exposed to those things. So can you imagine if we expose young people and persons who don't normally have the opportunity to those kind of things that they love? When you have a passion, you want to do it. Yeah. You know, so it's really, really important.
Can you share with us one of your favorite animations thus far that you've either created or had a hand in creating, the story behind how it came about?
Oh, well, I could go to my student film. So my student film was called The Masterpiece, and it's spelled Masterpeace. And I wanted to tell a story about my experience, just as I said before. And I wanted to talk about the fact that our voices were so affected because of colonization in the Caribbean. So just as what you experienced with slavery in America, we experienced the same slavery. I say to my audience all the time, we just jumped off that ship sometime before, after you. So we have family deeply connected through that thing. So my film was very much adult oriented, and I was trying to tell this story about colonization and how it's affecting us still. But what I did was I used little characters that were really not human, but really cute and adorable. And then I used the idea of an artist being the creator. So the creator was an artist, and the characters were, the story was about creating their own world. And the story was a very deep story that if I had told it with normal characters and with humans or with film, it would not have gotten the message across that people's voices need to be heard. And I do feel that is why it won the award for the London region that year, because it really told a very serious subject matter in a way that the audience could consume it easily and get some meaning from it. So.
Wow, that's outstanding. And congratulations on receiving that award as well. Last question that I wanted to ask you, the dream is in your hands. What does that mean to you?
That means that we as a people, and I'm talking about the other again, right? Who doesn't fit into the normal, because of our trauma, because of what we've been through, because of all the different challenges, we feel that we are not good enough, or we feel that we cannot dream big. We feel that, you know, a fancy, wonderful building is not good we are not good enough to be in there. We feel that we can't have huge businesses. We feel that we can't create an animated film to do with our life and it will win an Oscar. And that's because of our own internal struggles. So I do feel that the meaning for me about the dream is that we have to really allow ourselves to be good enough. That, to me, if you allow yourself to be good enough, then any dream, absolutely any dream, is possible.
Absolutely. I value that. I love that you shared that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Where can we keep up with you? Can we get your socials?
Sure. So if you go, I have a website that has all of my stuff on it. So instead of giving you any, I'll give you my website, which is CamilleSelvon.com. Very, very simple. What you're seeing there, CamilleSelvon.com. It has all the Instagram, Facebook, all of the other platforms that I use. And plus you'll be able to read up on all the things that I'm doing.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Amira Lawson. Again, you guys can follow me at BRITTLE.XO. And make sure you follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram at Create the Dream Co. And use the hashtag Dream Conference 2021. Stay tuned for the next segment. Again, Camille, thank you for your time.